Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be discussing what Saturn return is. So if you are about to turn 29 or maybe you are already there, you will definitely want to watch this video to get an understanding of what your Saturn return is and get some tips on how to survive and thrive through your Saturn return. It takes about 29 and a half years for Saturn to return to the sign that it was in when you were born. So if you are in your late 20s now, chances are you are experiencing your Saturn return or you are about to experience your Saturn return. I'll link below some of the links that you can find the exact dates of when your Saturn return is. You will also go through another Saturn return in your late 50s, sort of known as the midlife crisis, and you may also even go through a third Saturn return. But for this video today specifically, I will be talking about the first Saturn return, which happens at about 29 years old. Mainly because I am in my Saturn return right now, and it is something that I have looked a lot into and I'm really passionate about because it is something that has really disrupted my life in a beautiful way, but it has been a bit challenging. So I think it's very helpful to know why this is happening and to get some tools and tips on how to survive and make it through it. Luckily, I had a sense of what Saturn return is before I actually went into it. I remember watching Parks and Rec years ago and hearing Donna say to April that she was going through all of these challenges and questioning her life path because of her Saturn return, and then something inside of me being like, oh, what is that? That's interesting. So then I looked it up before I was actually in it and tried to prepare myself as best as possible. Mainly, Saturn return is known as a wake-up call. Chances are, if you drifted through your 20s and made decisions sort of unconsciously, or made the decisions based on what you felt were your expectations because of society or because of your parents or peers, likely you will go through this phase during your Saturn return of really questioning the path that you're on. This can be a time where a lot of us sort of grow up. We're approaching our 30s, we're starting to think about our path a little bit more, we're starting to think about our mortality, and you may be starting to ask yourself questions like, what am I actually doing with my life? Am I happy with the life that I'm living now? Am I happy with the people that I'm surrounding myself with, the things that I do day to day? In what areas of my life am I just clinging on to something that I might have actually outgrown and trying to resist fully growing up? So the planet Saturn is sort of known as the Lord of Karma. So during our Saturn return, it is likely that we will see things that start to fall apart that aren't necessarily in alignment with our destiny and with our soul. A lot of us may see careers fall apart or relationships fall apart during this time if they aren't necessarily in alignment with our true authentic selves. It's important to remember that anything that is cleared from your path at this time has a purpose, and that purpose is to redirect you and realign you to where you are meant to be. Everything is in your highest good that is happening at this time. Saturn is also the planet of discipline, practice, and commitment. At this time, Saturn might be bringing a bit of pressure. We're turning 30, we start to think about our mortality, we start to think about whether or not we are living our biggest dreams, and whether or not our path is heading us to where we envisioned or dreamed about being in the future. This is the time that we can use the strength and the energy of Saturn to help us to be disciplined, to create a plan that will get us to where we want to be and to set goals for ourselves that really help to get us there. Basically, during these 29 and a half years that Saturn takes to get back to the sign that it was in when you were born, it travels through all the different signs and teaches you lessons in each of the signs. And then once it gets back to the sign that it was in when you were born, it basically asks you, okay, what did you learn when I was in each of these signs, and are you applying what you learned then now? It kind of acts as a bit of a test to see how much you've actually learned during this time, and really can act as a bit of a crisis, putting us face to face with our fears and anything that we might have been avoiding these past 29 years, and really causes us to deal with things head on. We don't really have a choice anymore at this point to avoid or ignore these things. Really, Saturn return is shaking your entire foundation that you have built on society's expectations, on your parents' expectations, your peers, your own expectations that may not be authentic. It really shakes up the entire foundation of your life and makes things fall apart, and really encourages you to rebuild and create your own foundation based on one that is in your solid and authentic truth, one that is in alignment with your soul and in alignment with where you want to be in the future, truly, deeply, and not just where you think you should be or where society thinks you should be. It's really getting you to question everything that you believe to be true, what you were programmed to believe by society or the people that are around you, your culture, your religion, to question what you might have thought that you wanted in a career, to question what you thought you might have wanted in a relationship, in friendships, the people that you surround yourself with, and the things you do day to day. It's really calling you to reevaluate and ask yourself if these things are really serving and fulfilling your authentic self. Saturn wants you to be your own authority, your true higher self to be your own authority, and it really wants you to dig down deep into your core past any of those outdated beliefs to live that soul-filled life. Saturn return can be challenging if you are resisting the change that it is trying to bring you. Saturn return is a time of change, of redirection, of rebirth. And if you are sitting there and desperately clinging on to the past, this can be really challenging, because a lot of the things that might have been working for you before, that you were able to operate at sort of unconsciously, comfortably, are not working anymore. Things that aren't in alignment with your soul are just gonna start to sort of fall apart and not work properly, and it becomes hard during your Saturn return to be able to tolerate it and to live unconsciously. It's really calling you to bring conscious awareness to your life and make decisions rooted in conscious presence. So if you are desperately holding on to the past and resisting this change, it can cause depression at this time. It can cause illnesses in the body. For me, I got really sick when I started my Saturn return in this April. I got so sick for over a good month just because I was resisting a lot of the changes that were happening, and I still am resisting some of them, but I'm sitting with it and I'm trying to do my best to remind myself that this is in my highest good, that all of the changes that are happening are for my highest good, to get me in alignment with where I am meant to be. I know that it might sound easier said than done, but it is really best at this time to avoid resisting the changes, to learn how to let go of controlling everything in your life, and to learn to be able to trust in your path and trust in Saturn, and trust that everything that is happening is in your highest good. If you're not yet in your Saturn return, this can be a good time to evaluate everything in your life and ask yourself these hard questions now, so that it can be a little bit easier then. Ask yourself if you are living a life that feels authentic to you and feels in alignment with your soul and your highest self, and see if there is something that you can change now before you are sort of forced to change when you get to your Saturn return. Evaluate the relationships that you're in, the friendships, evaluate your career choice, your path that you are on, evaluate how you are living every day, and ask yourself these questions. What can I change now that'll bring me ease in the future, not just for a Saturn return, return, but just for living a life that is in alignment with your soul. Because I don't know about you, but I would love nothing less than to live a life that is authentic to me and in alignment with my soul. We only have one life in our bodies that we are in now, so I think it's worth it to live your life to the fullest. I want to make sure to note too that Saturn return doesn't always mean that your relationships and your careers are doomed at this time. Saturn return can bring a beautiful new beginning to a relationship if you and your partner are both willing to do the work, to dive in deep, to sit with those uncomfortable feelings and to communicate those things with your partner. This can be a rebirth for your relationship and bring you even deeper and closer if you allow it to. And also if it's meant to be. There's some times that we're just not in alignment anymore with these people, and your Saturn return might bring you apart in whatever way that it is meant to for you. Really, Saturn return reminds me of the death card in the tarot. This is from my fairy deck. And death isn't a negative thing. It just means a redirection, a dissolving, and a death of things that are outdated and outgrown, so we can release that and rebirth into the person that we are meant to be in this lifetime. For me, because I'm going through this right now, I'm seeing a lot of symbolism of death. I'm seeing a lot of symbolism of snakes and luna moths and skeletons, and I'm feeling really called to doing work with death and with releasing this old, outdated version of me. It was worse at the beginning of Saturn return. I just felt uncomfortable with certain things in my life, and I really wasn't able to just continue to live unconsciously. I had to bring consciousness to it and make these changes, and still I'm going through a big transformation right now. And I thought that I was prepared and knowing about this and doing yoga for so many years and being on the spiritual path, but still Saturn return has really shaken me to my core in a beautiful way. I am so grateful for it, and I know I still have time to go for my Saturn return, but I'm grateful already for the lessons that I've learned from it, and I know that it'll just keep directing me where I am meant to be. Saturn return can also bring gifts. So this might be a time where you are receiving the gifts of something that you've worked hard for, something that you've put in the time and the discipline for, and it can reveal to you what you have done with your talents. Putting in the time every single day, that will get you to where you want to be in your future. That will help you to manifest your goals and to live that life that is in alignment with your soul. And remember to take care of yourself too. Self-care is so important, and hard work doesn't mean pushing yourself. Self-care is working on yourself too. If you are in your Saturn return and maybe you're not noticing things manifesting to you, this might be the time to set those goals for yourself and to start putting in that loving discipline, taking those real actions that will get you there. This is really a time for setting a plan for yourself, for taking action, for living a life that is authentic and true to you. If you aren't yet in your Saturn return, or maybe even if you are in your Saturn return, it can be really helpful to look up the sign that Saturn is in your chart and to learn about the specifics about what that sign will bring for your Saturn return. For instance, right now we are in Saturn in Aquarius, and I might be biased because my Saturn is in Aquarius, but I think that Saturn in Aquarius is the perfect sign for Saturn to be in. I'm very happy that it is the sign that it is in for me. Aquarius is a very innovative and trailblazing sign. So really the weirdos of the zodiac. Saturn in Aquarius may be calling you to work for some sort of humanitarian or political change. Really, it's changing the systems that we're in right now and breaking free from all of those limited beliefs so that we can live in that alignment, like I keep saying, that alignment with our souls, our true authentic expression. It's really time to break free, whether you're watching this and your Saturn Saturn is in a different sign in a different time. This energy of this time, and when you go through your Saturn return, is the perfect time for breaking free from the limiting beliefs, breaking free from society's expectations, from your parents' expectations, your own expectations. This is a time for breaking free from whatever binds you, whatever chains that you may have that are really just imaginary. This is the time to let go of what is no longer serving you, especially if you're in your Saturn return. Try to not resist the changes that are happening and trust that at the end of this, you will be the beautiful butterfly that is transformed, that is rebirthed into a new you, one that you were always meant to be. Trust that you are worthy of living an amazing, abundant, and beautiful life that causes your soul to dance inside of your body. Trust that life is only redirecting you to the life that you are meant to live, to your destiny. Thank you for taking this time to watch my video, to subscribe, to like, and comment. Please share anything about your Saturn return. If you have any questions, you can ask them below. I will see you again very soon. May you live a life that causes your soul to dance inside of your body.